In vain Thalestris with reproaches sails, not half so fixed the Trojan could remain. So Thalestris is being referenced in the poem right now because she was the former lover of Alexander the Great and known for her commanding presence. And in this, she's also got everyone so fixated. Well, Belinda has everyone so fixated on what she is saying at the moment that they're almost like the Trojan army, which was known for its unique ability to stand completely still and strong in the face of any threat.
It's like just she's talking and suddenly everybody's like, I don't know how to react. Oh no. Oh.
But she sounds really nice. Let's all listen.
Although it's really just like the calm before the storm.
Seriously.
Exactly.
All of the story.
Then grave Carissa graceful waved her fan. So this sounds not nearly as important as it is, but the waving of her fan actually was a way that a woman could communicate certain things without outright saying.
Oh yeah. There was a whole language about it.
And there were books even written to interpret it for the man could actually know what in the world was going on.
This is really cool, but also like, wow.
It was almost like sign language to them.
It is. It actually is references sign language. It's cool.
What does that one mean?
I have no idea.
I think that's the I'm married one.
Oh.
No, that's
No,
the
no.
I'm engaged one.
Yeah,
because
you're
it's
going too
really
fast.
fast fan.
Well, it's hot in here, okay?
It is cool.
So, and then moving on, charm the smallpox or chase old age away. Since painted or not painted, all shall fade. So, it also references how many women would try to hide the fact that they are aging and become the immortal beauty that men often in this time pictured them as. And the way how they would try to do that is they would use a paint as makeup to cover their faces, which ironically most contained lead.
Yeah, age you faster.
So, didn't really help so much. But the paint or not painted all shall fade. It doesn't matter how hard you try to hide it under thick rows of makeup and stuff, but you will always, in the end, become older.
Yeah, and like the charm of the smallpox is also like trying to like only this beauty and like dancing and being, you know, lighthearted and also rich could stop you from getting sick or aging.
Yeah, if only your more graceful humor inside could be your outer looks for the rest of your life. Which brings us to, and trust me dear, good humor can prevail when airs and flights and screams and scolding fail. It's the good humor there is, well, you're at a party. Sometimes the parties get a little crazy. So what? Guy cut off a piece of your hair. You still got the other one? Let's just roll with it and just keep with the good humor and happiness of the party.
Don't just pull at it until it just frays. Just don't. It's bad.
But hair. It's hair. The first moment where I was just like, what? What does this mean? Was fierce virago. And when I looked it up in the dictionary, I found that there was a more modern definition that I decided to completely ignore because I didn't like it.
And also this is sort of like a not modern text.
Exactly, exactly. It's archaic. So I went with the archaic version of the word. And it's a woman of masculine strength or spirit, a female warrior. So I was like, oh yeah, that seems to fit. That fits. Awesome. So that's what I put down. The next one was fans clack, silks rustle, and tough whalebones crack. And when I first read this, I literally thought, okay, weaponry. It's like actual, real weaponry. So when I was looking it up, I'm like, weaponry, whalebone. And I'm like, what's with all these dresses?
I'm surprised dresses still came up even though you specified weapons.
Exactly.
That was
Well,
pretty
no,
good.
I'm not surprised, but in retrospect, it makes perfect sense because whalebones tend to be only used for
Dresses and
corsets. Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's like a rigid frame.
it's just he uses this line to show how utterly ridiculous this situation is. It's framed in such a dramatic way where it sounds like it's weaponry. It does.
Yeah, that's like the whole point of the thing is like it's taking something it's literally making mountains out of molehills.
Exactly.
I agree. And
It
it's not
cracks me up.
It's throughout the whole.
Yeah, it's like trying to make this silly thing into an epic thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which follows with the use of Greek gods and Roman gods, same ones, but
Same ones, different names.
yeah, exactly. It's like most of the gods he mentions are related to war or healing. Like Latona, who is the mother of Artemis and Apollo. Artemis was the goddess of the hunt, and Apollo was the god of healing and medicine. So it's like it's a very warrior-like situation.
Yeah.
So he's mentioning all these warrior gods and goddesses to kind of build up everything, and it's just so ridiculous. So ridiculous. I love it so much.
I mean, like
We get to a view and wilting perished in the throng. One died in metaphor and one died in song. I honestly have no idea what that means. I still don't. I think it does mean that it's just about all the men falling to the power that is the women, and they're all perishing, even though they're not actually dying.
yeah.
So one died in metaphor and one died in song. So the metaphor and then the song, which has a whole bunch of metaphors, and it's very, very dramatic in song.
Yeah, it's all like they didn't actually die; they just mostly died. It's not in a fake way.
Yeah.
All right, so it's like Sir Plume drew Chloe sit down, and then Chloe stepped in and killed him with a frown. I don't think it ever mentions Chloe before that, so I'm just assuming it's just either just some random woman.
No idea.
But it's basically like she frowns at him, so he stops, and then she's like, "Oh, good, he stopped because I frowned. I'm going to smile about that."
Yeah.
Then he sees the smile, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to get back at it then."
Yeah.
It's basically like red light, green light.
Yeah.
And then, like you were mentioning earlier with the gods and stuff, they mentioned Jove. When that's normally just like a general expression, it's still like a reference to Jupiter or
By
Zeus.
Jove.
Yeah. So there's more of that. And then the whole section at the end there with like with one finger and thumb subdued. Like starting there, going onward. It's just okay. She threw some tobacco in his face, and it's like, oh, the gnomes guided every atom. Hit his nose just the right way, so he would sneeze. And then she takes advantage of that and pounces on him and draws her hairpin. That's what a bodkin is, just a hairpin. And for some reason, this hairpin has a history. It's all like, hey, this used to be like your great grandfather's necklace, and then it was made into a buckle for a dress, and then it was made into like a children's rattle or something like that, and now it's a hairpin.
There are 8 lines about this hairpin.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And like the reason for that was just because it's like this entire confrontation is supposed to be like a battle from an epic, like a big climactic fight. Only it's like the climax of the fight is he sneezes, and so they give the bodkin this rich history, like it's Excalibur or something. Just drew the bodkin from her bun like it was a sword from a stone. It's just.
It's so ridiculous.
It's supposed to be the feel of an epic.
I guess so, because it is. It's totally an epic. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Stanza 4, and mine pretty much just continues on to John's, which is the fight.
Yes.
And there's, and she's like, "But it's not my fault." He cried and insult Bob, which is pretty much, hey, don't insult me.
It's like, hey, okay, you knocked me down. Don't go boasting about it. You just threw some stuff in my face.
What did you
Exactly.
really attack me with a hairpin?
Yeah.
Come on.
What?
Come
And
on.
yeah, well, pretty much they just continue to fight over. She just wants her hair back.
Yeah.
Which is the restore the lock is what in my hair, the lock of hair. And not fierce. There's a little bit that says not fierce Otho in so loud a strain, more than the handkerchief that causes pain. Othello is a character in Shakespeare's work, which is the tragedy of Othello. So Othello's handkerchief was his wife's handkerchief, and he pretty much is planning another man's home, and just to kill her. It's pretty much it's pretty much it. So another epic, so to say, in there. But like I said, mine just continues with the fight and give back my longer hair. But there was a little neat part that I had no idea what it meant. And it was cages for gnats and chains to yoke the flea, dried butterflies and tones of casuistry. So tones of casuistry is books of unsafe reasoning. So what I pretty much concluded with that, because it is, the last bit, was don't give me, pretty much all your reasoning is crap.
Yeah, it makes as much sense as putting a chain on a flea.
There we go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's basically what that's trying to get at, I guess.
Okay, so it was probably pretty much right.
Yeah.
Nice.
At least in my understanding of this crazy nonsensical epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the line, "This the Belmont shall from the mall survey it and hail with music and prophetess Ray." What that's basically talking about is earlier in the stanza, they mentioned how a celestial being was actually there at the event when Belinda's hair was cut, and that ray is her light being ascended into the skies, and just marking across the skies, basically what that's talking about. And Belmont is basically high society, so high society is watching the ray fly up Belinda's hair, just go up into the sky.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird, not human things going on. There's like the gnomes that mess with the tobacco thing and all the other things that
Bales just comes by.
that's
And the next thing we need to look at is the last three lines of the poem. "And all those tresses shall be laid in dust, the lock the muse shall consecrate to fame, and with the stars inscribe Belinda's name." What it's basically referring to here is after we've had this big, huge kind of spaz moment where everybody is freaked out about this horrible event, where it's just horrible, terrible event, where this gorgeous young woman has had her hair cut, and how that is just travesty for the entire world. That no one will not know Belinda's name. If you walk up to anybody on the street, they will know who Belinda is after this.
yeah, but of course this is all like being a parody of that or poking fun at it. So
Yes.
it's generally just like, why did you guys make so much of a deal? Here, don't be so sad about it. I guess
Chill.
there's
guys.
this thing that happened.
Pope is just lovingly describing the ridiculousness of everything about this.
And also, I think it may be a reference to there's other stories in Greek and Roman mythology
Where
where
things become stars.
they're rewarded by being inscribed in the stars for the rest of the time,
Or
so
punished.
everybody finds
More fun. Yes.
So it's kind of jabbing fun at Belinda, where you were such a tragic heroine that you're now in the stars because of the crime that was committed against
Not even her hair.
her hair. It was that special.
So let's go to yours.
Cut.
Yeah.
Cut.
Wait, don't do it yet. Don't do it yet. Wait. Cut.